Today, we'll be looking at some cool Easter eggs and connections found within KeyForge artwork, as well as some concept art and a few miscellaneous things along the way. But before we get into it, fitting with the theme of this artwork-based video, I'm doing a giveaway of the official KeyForge art book, containing tons of high-quality, full-sized card art, along with concept art and artist commentary. Winning this book couldn't be simpler. All you need to do is leave a comment down below saying what your favorite card in KeyForge is based on its artwork. And that's it! Do that and you're automatically given a spot in the running to win this official KeyForge art book. Take a look in the description for more details. The Sting is a wildly unique card in KeyForge, featuring some sort of really cool looking vehicle, but if you look closely, there's a character riding the Sting who actually appears on another card, this character being Smiling Ruth, a Shadows creature. Interestingly, the Sting appears on another KeyForge card as well, this one on the Sanctum Action Commandeer, in the foreground. It doesn't look like Smiling Ruth is riding this one though, based on who the Sanctum Knight is holding up, but nevertheless, it's cool to see this insane KeyForge artifact get a little flavor of its own. Another group of cards that thread together are found in Logos, beginning with Doc Bookton from Call of the Archons. It shows her operating on a sort of robot buddy, and the flavor text reads, "Don't worry Momo, we'll have this quantum death ray installed in no time." And sure enough, in the very next set, Age of Ascension, we see Momo become its very own creature in the form of Helperbot, with its quantum death ray putting in some work, and with the flavor text by Doc Bookton that reads, "See Momo? I told you it wouldn't take long." Then, 2 sets later in Mass Mutation, Doc Bookton mutates into Bot Bookton, appearing to have fused with Helperbot. Now her flavor text reads, "Look Momo, now I have a quantum death ray too." Altogether, these 3 cards tell a story that spans multiple sets, and I think that's really neat. Another couple cards that tell a story are found in House Mars, starting with Martian Generosity. It shows a nervous shopkeeper being bullied by a Martian soldier, clearly trying to extort something from the shopkeeper. The next card in the series is the card Exterminate Exterminate, showing the Martian soldiers losing control and destroying the entire marketplace, wreaking havoc on the area. These 2 cards were drawn by the same artist, and are pretty hilarious in the short story they show. There are other characters that show up across multiple cards, one of the most popular being Fuzzy Gruen, a super cute untamed creature who gives you 2 Ember when you play him. He's on lots of cards. He's hiding away on the upgrade Camouflage, and is being held hostage on the Shadows upgrade Ransom, though he doesn't seem to mind too much. He's also having a good time with a fellow Fuzzy Gruen on unsuspecting prey about to be devoured by a Snufflegator, and, now this one is sad, being struck down by some sort of evil energy in the discard Draining Touch. On the Logos card backup plan, he seems to be shocked at whatever's going on there, and there seems to be a creature designed to look like him on the card Human's Bane, with some wicked individual luring humans in with its sheer cuteness. In Mass Mutation, he mutates into Cephaloist, becoming a super buff Fuzzy Gruen, and in Dark Tidings, a new variant on him is introduced with Deepwater Gruen, just as cute, but underwater. And finally, there's one more version of him, from the KeyForge adventure Abyssal Conspiracy, and if you don't want your image of Fuzzy Gruen to be ruined, I would recommend looking away. He has an evil twin version, and it is just terrifyingly ugly. I don't know what happened to him that would cause him to contort into this disgusting mess, but there you go, Fuzzy Gruen's evil twin. Another multi-card species are the Microputians, originally being identified on the Coda Shadows card Ghostly Hand, whose flavor text reads, "I felt a little bad stealing from the Microputians, but only a little bad," stated by Naughty the Thief. And sure enough, the card shows a group of tiny purple individuals barely the size of Naughty's hand, having a statue of theirs stolen away. Another Microputian shows up on Shadow Self, this guy apparently possessing some sort of dark protection. There's clearly one on the upgrade Opportunist, based on the size of the hand pointing a knife at him. Then, on the Book of LEQ, if you look close, there appears to be a group of them standing around, mulling about atop the book, or whatever device that is. This next one is a little harder to tell, but people think that the Sanctum creature Sir Bever is a Microputian, based on his purple color and his tiny stature, seeing that his armor is literally just a Sanctum Knight's helmet. It's a little easier to see in his evil twin version, where you can see his head tentacles, but it looks like a Microputian to me. And lastly, this one you need to look really closely to see. They're in the art of the untamed creature Lumalu. The purple rows on either side of Lumalu look like beautiful flowers at first glance, but when you look closer, you can tell they're actually loads of Microputians bowing down to Lumalu. I was stunned when I first learned about this, and it adds some extra flavor to Lumalu that I'd never seen before. Overall, it's a pretty neat spot to put them. We also have Captain Val Jericho, the leader of the Grand Star Alliance. Not only does she provide flavor text to 8 whole cards throughout the game, but she also makes cameos in other cards' art as well. She shows up on Forging an Alliance, welcoming people into the Star Alliance, as well as on We Can All Win, continuing to prove her dedication to bringing all the races of the Crucible together. She's also on Grand Alliance Council, in the center of the battle line as she should be, making some pretty grand decisions. Speaking of Star Alliance, one of the aliens on Transporter platform, this guy all the way over to the right here, is actually the alien that appears in Mass Mutation as the base for the alien mutations, like Dino Alien, Sacro Alien, Techno Alien, that type of creature. They're definitely the same species, if not the same character. Then, on the creature away team, if you look closely, you can see one of the crewmates scanning what appears to be a KeyFrog. KeyFrog is a really neat creature from Untamed, so the fact that he appears on away team is really cool, showing off the diversity of life on the planets around the Crucible. Up next, there's a theory that the rare untamed creature Briar Grubling from Call of the Archons evolves or mutates in Mass Mutation into Pismire. I could definitely see that, with their silver coloration and pincers and everything, and if that's the case, that's a super cool connection to be made between creatures multiple sets apart. The Saurians' iconic spiral-shaped house icon is more than just their house icon, it's the symbol of their entire nation. It's found all over different Saurian cards, showing up on either side of the entryway and city gates, in the background of the Colosseum key cheat, as well as on top of various buildings in form of giants. It's also on Curiosaurus, atop the entrance to, as the card's flavor text says, the beating heart of the Republic. The symbol can also be found on staffs belonging to various high-profile members of Saurian society, in particular Senator Brachus, as well as Senator Quintina, and the character on Triumph. It's also on Imperial Forge, but it's probably most prominent on the Golden Spiral, where it apparently even has its own inscription according to the flavor text. I'm sure it appears elsewhere, but those are all the spots I could find within a short time. Let's move out of Saurian and into Untamed, with the creature Bumblebird. This is widely regarded as one of the prettiest pieces of KeyForge artwork in the game, and I certainly agree with that. But if you take a look at Growth Surge, it looks like Bumblebird has sucked all the life out of the flowers around it and has become all bloated. Bumblebird appears elsewhere too, such as helping out colonist Chapman on his card. It's also hanging out with Youngest Bear, until Youngest Bear goes evil and attacks the poor thing. Cool to see even a small insect like Bumblebird on different cards throughout the sets. Alright, now this next thing I want to show you is somewhat theoretical, but might actually have some depth to it. If you look at the full-sized artwork for Nefru, Worlds Collide Disc Creature, you can see the phrase New Revolution graffitied on the wall behind him. You can't see this on the card itself because it's cut off, but it's there in the full picture. And then, if you head over to the one single spoiler we've had for the upcoming set Winds of Exchange, the new Mars creature Borka Rick has flavor text that reads, "Join me, and the revolution will never die." So the question is, was a Martian revolution of sorts, such as the one in Winds of Exchange where Mars will be making their great return, being teased and hinted at all the way back in Worlds Collide? Now that's an interesting thought. There are a number of pairs of cards in KeyForge that, when combined, their artwork forms one single picture. One of my favorite examples of this is with Onyx Knight from Dis and Opal Knight from Sanctum. Put these two opposing creatures together, and you get a stunning piece of art displaying a war between the Knights of Sanctum and the Demons of Dis. I think I like this picture even more than Bumblebird, just from the epicness of it and the battle that's taking place. There's also Even Ivan and Odd Claude. Put them together, and you get two weirdly mutated scientists having a bit of a friendly argument. Another well-known pair is Vellum and Hyde, who seem to be a little friendlier with each other than Even Ivan and Odd Claude. There's also the intimidating Saurian pair Scylla and Charybdis. These two monsters are massive, especially compared to the tiny Saurians in the boat next to them. There's also Javinda and Avinda, a pair of Shadow sisters whose individual card art combines to make one. And of course, the three gigantic creatures combine as one card. In fact, you need both halves in hand to even play the creature, so that makes their artwork pretty important. Alright, now let's move on to some concept art for KeyForge, and some rough designs for various cards and creatures, along with a few smaller details that may get cut off in the card template. A rough draft for Festering Touch featured a completely different alien in a completely different pose, viewing it from a front view rather than the skewed angle we have in the final card. Urian the Circumspect and his evil twin version were originally holding their treasure chests rather than stepping on them, as we see in their final versions. I think I personally prefer the more dynamic pose of them putting a foot on the chest rather than just holding them, so I think it was a good change. There was a version of Deucelus with his mouth closed instead of open, and after seeing the open mouth version for so long, the closed mouth just looks kinda weird. There was a draft of Regrettable Meteor where, instead of seeing the destruction happen reflected off a dinosaur's eye, instead we just see it happen straight up. I think that seeing it through the eye makes you feel the pain of what's happening much stronger though. There's another card that looks like it went through a name change as well. Scientifical Hack may have at one point been simply called Malfunction. Pretty uncreative if you ask me. I can see why they changed it. The concept art for Senator Shrix is cool as well, showcasing some of the thought processes behind her design. The same goes for Senator Quintina, who it appears went through a similar process. I think the physical design these characters landed on is quite nice and fits the world perfectly. Fila the Researcher went through a number of different poses before she was finalized, and I like this art because it looks like she was designed to be a proper character, a real individual within the Crucible. There are a number of other creatures who were designed this way. Barrister Joya had some cool designs, and also for the artifact memory chip. It looks like the memory chip in this case is a chip of regrets, which I hadn't noticed until analyzing this artwork closer. It looks like Rad Penny went through a few pose changes throughout development, as did the group of Shadows elves in Perplexing Sophistry, debating in court, Pip as she repairs the giant mechanical boot, perhaps fixing it for herself or someone else, and Patronage, though it seems to be the statue that's being carved changing his position more than the sculptor herself. Succubus originally had a much more generic disc-like face before it was changed to something more humanoid. Titan Guardian once had 6 arms crossed instead of the 4 we see in its final version. Numquid the Fair also went through a few pose changes, though in all her poses she's still blasting apart the same green goo, so that at least stayed consistent. Malison went through some different face designs, some of which are truly frightening, making me quite glad they went with the version we have now in Worlds Collide. There are lots of other cards with neat draft art too. Take a look. But that's all for today. I hope to make another video on KeyForge artwork sometime in the future, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you learned anything new, let me know. Give me your thoughts. Also let me know of anything I may have missed. I'm sure there's plenty I accidentally skipped over. And remember to enter into the KeyForge artbook giveaway. Just leave a comment telling me your favorite KeyForge card based on its art, and you'll automatically have a chance to win. Check out the description for more details on that. Thank you all so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. See you later.